We are here for the second edition of the JD Sports Podcast. We have such a great group. Philly royalty, different generations. We have Jimmy Gorecki, Freeway, Tunji. Thank you guys so much for being here. I feel like a visitor. I'm a New York Giants fan. Jimmy had to wear how many patches are on that Eagles jacket?
A lot of patches. Yeah. The most important one are the Super Bowl patches. Yeah. That one and that one.
But yeah, I feel like this is a away game for me, but definitely a home game.
Whenever we step out, we're fresh Eagles. 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 North, west, south, southwest. Eagles. Everywhere we go, we rep the
Eagles.
You done know.
Man, that was pretty good. Yeah.
Can we clear that or no? We got to make sure we clear that. But
clear.
I want to start off with, what do you think that Philly does better at sneaker culture than any other city? What is like homegrown for you guys that is distinctive to Philly?
We just stick to the script. We stick to what we know, like Jordans, Nikes, Air Maxes, New Balance. We stick to the script. We stick to what came before us and what represents Philly.
And Jimmy, what would you say, like, kind of coming up here, and what is like different than city to city? I know that you've moved around, but like this is home for you.
Man, I remember the guys like that sat on 5th and South Street, polo down, Air Max 95s, would never tell you where they got them from. That was like a cardinal sin, find it yourself, you know? And then I think similar to what Free said, just the simplicity of it, the uniform, the Air Force, a Jordan 3, a Jordan 4, fitted hat. It's just like a kind of a certain aesthetic that I think has always been the foundation for sneakers and just fashion in general here.
And it's funny you say, like, no one told you where they got it. There's like some sort of gatekeeping to it that was like important, not to fully spill the beans, basically.
Yeah. You had to know which mom and pop shops to go to. You had to dig. It was like no one was going to give it to you, right? You either knew or you didn't,
And Tunji's wearing the Air Max 95 and Free. I know that was a huge shoe for you back then, and it's been such a big year for the 95. What do you think about like those silhouettes with like decades later, the substantial staying power of them?
I mean, it just shows you why we gravitated towards them in the first place, because they have staying power. Like them joints is classic. Like whatever colorway, you're able to put a crazy lay together with them, and the rest is,
And Tunji, being like part of the new generation, how do you feel about like sneaker culture as it relates to Philly?
I mean, I've seen it transcend from, so they said the uniform, whether it's the army fatigue with the Dickie suit or whatever, that'd be like a piece, right? Whether it's the Air Max 95, whether it's like some Uptowns, whatever. But it transcended, I guess, as stuff got a little bit more, I'd say more fashionista, whatever. We used to like sit out of Ubik, sit out of Abacus, wait for drops. And that's like, it was really ahead.
Yeah.
Around those times, trying to get like the re-releases of like the Breads, like, or like some Black Cement 3s or something like that. So yeah, that's how it's like progressed, I guess.
And Ubik, that's still kind of new. Like I remember all we had was the Gallery. We had Dr. Denim, City Blue, Sneaker Villa. Like, we had to go in there and go for what we know.
And how did those stores differ than even a Ubik?
Certain stores had, like Dr. Denim might have some Air Maxes that City Blue don't have.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So they got different products, at different times.
And Jimmy, you worked at Ubik.
In the Gallery. And there's no place on the face of this earth that is like the Gallery. The things I've seen with my eyes in there.
We need to hear some of the things.
I would see, like from skating downtown, I would see the undercovers that patrolled downtown, but then they would be patrolling in the Gallery. I saw Chingy performing and get rushed by more than enough kids in his security could handle, and the jewelry came off.
Wow.
I seen guys get stuck up right in the middle of the store, as shopping hours are going on, like crazy shit, yo. Cause
Gallery used to be super crowded.
Dude.
Nowhere to walk in there.
Yeah.
Like on the weekends, like back when I was a young boy, we would hustle all week, and then we'd go to the Gallery and spend our money. Like, that's when we had the pencil pocket Guess jeans, the fresh pair of Timberlands, like, you know what I'm saying? Like probably a Pelly, different crazy Pellies, like, you know what I'm saying? Different flavors. Like that was the uniform.
And Free, was that even like pre making it in rap? Like just
Yeah, that was
hustling?
way before I made it in rap. Like,
how
that was
how
like
many years like before? Like
9'6", 9'7",
Okay.
9'8". Like, you know, it was around that time. Like people knew me in the city, but I wasn't famous for
Got it.
rapping yet. Yeah.
And then like let's fast forward a little bit. Jimmy, what is this Dickies-esque shirt that you're wearing under the
I was getting a little hot too. So
Okay.
I packed this specifically.
crispy? That looks brand new.
We
Sir.
obviously we are sitting next to musical royalty, specifically Philadelphia musical royalty, and this was like the uniform.
Put
You
that
know, it's
thing out.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
It was a
blessing.
s-
It's a blessing to be a part of, you know, the whole state property movement. From, you know, the music is one thing, but what we did with clothing is
Yes.
amazing. Like, you know, shout out to my brother Beanie Siegel. It was his idea to come up with the clothing line with the, you know, little stash spots in the jackets
Okay.
and in the jeans. Like, you know, for people that's out in the streets and on the block, you know, and it really took over.
You guys were hands-on. We'll get to like Dame being such a mastermind and kind
Most
of like
definitely.
businessman, but Beanie was like designing. You guys were like adding design cues and details to the
Most
clothing.
definitely. Yeah. Beans was hands on with it, you know, and you know, Rockefeller, the Rockaware was like a little more high end, but our brand was for the streets and for people. Like even the price points was lower. Like, you know, it's for the hood, you know. So
Gritty fatigues, like Tunji said.
It was a uniform, it's militant.
Yeah.
Like, you feel me? You see them joints like whether you're watching like MTV or watching BET, you see Rock the Mic video, this, that, and that. I'm just looking at that shit as a kid.
I still
like,
have a
yo,
pair of the Pro-Keds at the crib.
Yeah.
I want to
I
bring
packed
up,
so quick. I should have brought them too.
I want to bring up Pro-Keds because Freeway. I was watching an old interview with you, and you were talking about your favorite sneakers, and you said like once state property in Rockefeller started to bubble, though, Dame had it in his mind like we need to make our own sneakers.
yeah.
Take us
Dame
through like
got his own sneak right now. He just sent me some sneaks. He,
really CEO
yeah.
brand or what?
Yeah, CEO brand.
Okay.
yeah.
But take us back to when, like, you know, we'll get to sneaker deals and things like that and boxes coming through, like the label office. But when do you remember it being like, no, we have to do our own?
It was around the time when state property started taking off, like the clothing line, you know. So we need something to go with it. We need some feet to go with it. And they did a deal with Pro-Keds. You know, them Jones was cool.
Yeah.
Like we had SP Pro-Keds with SP on the side. Jones was fire. I never was really into Pro-Keds before that, but once, you know, it was a part of the brand, and, you know.
And it's crazy because I remember Pro-Keds even like selling them in Finish Line. Remember that some of them used to smell like they used to smell. I think it was might have been pre-Dame or right near Dame, but like they were scented. Like Dame was always kind of like adding. I think there was like a cookies one and those they were selling like crazy. It's like the influence that you guys had just was like going mainstream. And Tunji, you know, I was looking through your Instagram and it's like you were honored to, I think it was with JD that you did like a short for them and you did a score for them and that you were like, I was honored. I came up on the state property mixtapes and DJ
bro.
Clue. As someone like a different generation, explain what it was like where like they were living it, but you kind of absorbed it at a different time of life.
Just real life superheroes, bro. Like, you feel me? And like, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Like when I first came up, Free, one of the first OGs to like really embrace me, Mir and all them. Like, but just growing up, like between like the DJ Clue stuff, the radio freestyles, the Cosmic Kev joints, going on Hot 97 and seeing that joint when it's just Beans, Oskino, and you know, Free just going crazy, Neef and Buck, all that. Like, it was just more so like, yo, this is like real, and this is in my backyard.
Yeah.
You know? And
Shout out to
like,
Cosmic Kev too. I just did a come up show freestyle last week. I went
Let's
almost
go.
6 minutes.
Uh-oh.
So if y'all ain't check it out, make sure y'all go check it out on YouTube.
Okay. But it was just like you were like a student.
completely enamored in it as I need parts. Like, you know, and it's just more so just how they carried it. You know, it was just more so like this is like what it means to be like the guys in that era, and like between Iverson going crazy is right around All-Star Weekend in Philadelphia and stuff. Like, bro, just hearing stories about TGI Fridays, letting like hearing
those stories. Yeah,
Iverson, like
What?
just like yo,
You had
I
to
can't
be
wait.
there. Club McDonald's.
Club McDonald's. Wow.
So wait, what?
yeah.
So for
Club
people who don't know,
McDonald's, yes.
for people who don't know, Club McDonald's
It's one block off. It's between Diamond and Susquehanna on Broad Street.
And was this all happening at the same time?
Yeah.
You guys
Hell
coming
yeah.
up, the
Same
Iverson
time.
boom, what was it like?
I
Like
just
the
rode past
culture?
there like 2 o'clock in the morning the other night, and it looked like they trying to bring it back.
Yo,
Like, it
really?
was out there. I'm like, damn, Club McDonald's still going on.
Yeah.
But the synergy in the city was like, I remember one day I was downtown. I think I was going to a jewelry store, Ivy, used to be on 10th and 12th and Market, the 10th and Market. This like the first time I see AI. He got out the back of a Honda Accord wagon, tinted up. He damn near couldn't even fit in that joint.
Wow.
He got out that joint. I'm like, yo, AI just hopped out a Honda Accord. That's how Hoodie was.
Yeah.
He was like, you would see him like after the games, they would go to Fridays. That joint used to be popping. It wasn't even nowhere to park out there. Like them joints used to be turned up.
He was like, you know, we talk about like pre-social media, but he was roaming around the city. You could
Yeah,
like
he was in
actually
the mix.
see
He was
It seems
everywhere.
like-
yeah.
Really?
You know?
He was accessible for
Shout
sure.
out to Allen Iverson too. He just released a book.
Yes.
And you know, he's on a book tour now. I performed that when he stopped in Philly. You know, I got a lot of love for AI, man.
Yeah.
He really put on for the city. Like he's honorary Philadelphia.
Absolutely. I can't imagine what that was like when he was hitting and like those shoes came out. Like, do you remember the first release of the Iverson?
answers, bro.
How old were you?
Man, maybe like 6, 7.
Okay.
Bro, but you had to have the whole kit though. You
Yeah,
had
yep.
the armbands, headband.
Had to
You
have the
know,
whole
try to
kit.
get the answers. Try to go into the mall and try to find them if they wasn't sold out. You know, seeing the commercial, like it's just everything about that era, and like, just really that's like just like the core youth of like, all right, this is
Yeah.
insane time.
What do you remember about the Iverson sneakers?
You know, they did go quick back then. You know, like the red toe, the blue
Yeah.
toe.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted the undefeated one.
Crazy
I really
colorway.
wanted the East Bay, like $60,000 one with
Yeah.
the jewels on it. You don't even know if that one really came out. You know, and then going through the zip ups.
Yep.
You know, like, yeah, that was a special time, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot for that brand because we ain't even really rock with those sneaks like that.
Yeah.
You know, in Philly until he came out with his own sneaker. Like we was Nike heads. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I feel like you guys, and like you just said it, he was always one of you guys, like from the city. You know, it felt like he did so much for the city. It's crazy because all this was happening in the span of like the same years. Mitchell and Ness,
Yeah.
Yes.
2003. Look at our guy in the ad with
Yeah.
Big Rube.
Yeah.
Shout out my brother
Shout out
Big
Rube, yeah.
man.
Rube.
I love
Okay.
Big Rube.
Take us back to 2003 and the Mitchell and Ness boom, where like we were talking about they were wearing them in New York, but it was starting here.
They originated here. Even before I even spit a bar that y'all heard, we would wait till like I think it was like February around football season. You can go to Mitchell and Ness and get jerseys half off. So
Wow.
we would wait till that season and go in there and get every jersey. Like I still got big ass jerseys like that I can't even fit. I had every jersey. Like that's like a cheat code having Mitchell and Ness in the city.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Like,
It's
you know.
highly debated. I want like, what is your Mount Rushmore of Mitchell and Ness jerseys though? No one has to do all four, but like give you your favorite of all time.
The number one, and I'll get killed, is the Nolan Ryan, the striped one.
Astros?
Yeah,
or?
the Astros one. Number 2, baby blue Mike Schmidt. Number 3 is just the Kelly Green Cunningham.
Okay.
Even the cut on that one is different. It's a little slimmer.
Yeah, I love that.
Number 4, it's got to be like the Dr. J with the stars or something.
Yeah,
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
You got to
Dr.
think
J.
too, like back then they were like $450.
Yeah.
I would go in there and it was like in a museum. I couldn't afford any of it and I couldn't fit any of it,
Yeah.
you know? So like if you had a jersey back then, it was like, that was like luxury back then. You know, like you were I knew you spent no
Yes.
less than $400 on that thing. What would you do if you stained them back then? That's why I almost didn't even want to have
Yeah,
one. 'Cause I
we had
couldn't
to keep them
imagine.
in plastic.
Yeah,
Like, I
like-
still got
Yeah.
a bunch of jerseys
Yeah.
in plastic. Like my favorite jersey of all time is the Sixers warm-up jersey, the zip up that had the stars on the side. Y'all know what
Okay.
I'm talking about?
Almost like the shooting shirt,
Yeah,
right?
it was like the shooting shirt. Yo, I love that. Like I couldn't get it. Like it was like gone. And then like seen Fab with it. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Why I can't get it? I finally got that John. Like that was my favorite John.
Yeah.
Man, I had so many jerseys. Like I had first.
You were
dibs on
paying
them
for them
Johns.
back then,
Yeah,
though,
I was
huh?
paying for them. Like,
Damn.
You know? So like we was hustling, we were saving up our money for that time, and then we'd go there and get everything.
It's crazy you bring up Fab because like it being a Philly thing, how did you feel seeing New York rappers wear, even you said like Fab had it before you sometimes. How did you see it like go up the coast a little bit?
No, it was cool, man,
Yeah.
because we know where it originated at. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we represented it. We did it for a long time, too. So we never was upset. Well, I never was upset or hated. I felt like it was dope that they was representing the city. And shout out to Big Rube. Like, he really
Yeah.
played the big hand in getting the jerseys to those artists.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
How was that process like if you had a video shoot? Would they just come in with tons of jerseys and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Like, when we was on Rockefeller, so
Yes.
we had like trucks of merch pull up. Like, you know, we can go in there, go in the truck, pick what we want. They always had everything laid out for us.
And what about like the sneakers? Was it the same thing?
Same thing, sneakers, whatever you wanted. And then at the end of the shoot, you could keep whatever you wore.
Was anyone more bullish than another person? Like who was scooping in the crew? Who was the one who was scooping it the most?
I mean, it's on YouTube. You can see it.
Wait, was it
definitely on
Dame?
YouTube, huh?
Dame or
No, it wasn't Dame.
Okay.
Like, you know, different people from State Property was a little more like, you know,
Okay.
hype about, you know, taking them Jones home and all that.
Do you still have a lot of pieces, like original ones from
Yeah,
back
most
then?
definitely.
All right,
Yeah,
because
I
I
got a
would
bunch
say
of
if you
that
wanted to take this, I would be more than happy to.
No,
I would be
still got-
honored to say.
Like the
this is-
thing about State Property clothes is they only sent stuff to Beans in the beginning. So we used to have, if you look at some of the pictures back in the day, I might have one of 4X shirt, big ass hoodie, like big ass jeans, because they
You
sent
were wearing
boxes
his.
to Beans. Yeah, for a long time.
Hey.
So Beans was the
We all
sample
used to.
size.
Yeah.
Beans with the sample size.
Okay. I want to talk also in the family, and Jimmy, you said that when you were working that these were moving crazy, but like, what do you guys remember
man,
about these?
yeah.
Oh man,
You can pass
what?
them down.
Yeah,
Look at this is
and that's the second one, right?
I think
That's
so. Because the first colorway were like the
yeah.
Boy, what? These is in mint.
seriously great condition.
Because we had the white came out with the mixtape, the white and the black with the mixtape, with the S. Carter mixtape,
Yeah.
and then the black and brown.
These are 10.
But resale on this is
But that's
probably
the
like,
second
So,
S.
so I
Carter,
actually
right?
looked, they're still going for like $500
Yeah, these Jones is
because you
classic.
can't get
Yeah.
them. But Jimmy, you said as an employee, S dots were moving so crazy. It was commission based that you
nuts.
would just hang out in front of
That
the
was
S.
it.
So explain like a
That was
Saturday
it.
when those released.
You looked at the size running in the back, so you knew you had an idea of how many you could possibly move, and you did not leave that shoe on the wall. And you would wait for a customer to come up, give them your size, and then run to the back and get it, and get right back to the wall because another sales employee would try to take that spot, you know?
Yeah.
And that applied to everything. That was the S dots, that was the G units.
Yeah.
God, I mean Jordans.
Yeah.
It was S dot, G Unit, Jordan, and Timberland. Just a pair of butters. Those were your like money makers back then. you know. Ubik was unique because if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the first couple of stores in the United States to have a tier 0 account. So like all the Italian packs, like all of those specialty packs, you know, the Python packs, like the Atmos stuff. And I'm a kid, a skater just trying to make some extra money, and I'm getting introduced to all this stuff and educated. You know, also Mesquite. You know, it's like we had
shout out to
Mesquite
Mesquite,
there.
yeah.
It was like,
Mesquite era.
you know, it was there was crazy shit going on in Philly back then. This is not the first one though, right? I think this is the second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I about 3 or 4 years ago, I found a brand new pair of the black ones, and I gave them to Emery.
Really?
Yeah, I gave them to Emery.
What was his reaction?
He
Emery
was blown
Jones, of
away,
course.
you know, because M wasn't around when that shoe came out, and it was brand new. I met M through Amir, and Emery, at a point in my life and my career where I was super low and trying to figure out how to navigate my professional life, this guy did a couple things for me which were easy, turning up the knobs for him that were like all of the injection from like a professional standpoint that I could have ever asked for. I will die about this guy. I will die about Emery. Like these guys, what they mean to us as kids growing up in Philadelphia. But that's why I was like, I couldn't possibly, in good faith, hold on to that shoe knowing that he had to have it. And I think he had Jay sign it.
Did he ever have a pair?
No.
So he was locked up when they got released,
And
basically.
I'll send you a picture. He posted the picture of Jay signing it. And I'm like, yo, that's like, you know, they were brand new.
So
Shout out to Emery, he's a great brother.
Man,
Great
there's
heart.
a picture of you and M that is like it comes up in my feed, and I'm like, I just see two amazing souls in that picture.
Thank you, man.
Like,
Appreciate it.
and how many years ago did you give him to him?
this was in the last like 3 or 4.
Wow, it's a great gift.
Yeah. I couldn't hold on to that knowing that he needed to have it, you know.
One thing about the S dots, like everything else, like we would have to come to the store to get some things, but we normally got everything, like Rockaware, State Property. Once we got into the algorithm, we would get boxes sent to ourselves. But them S dots, we was in the store for them Jones.
Yeah.
Really? So the crew couldn't even get them?
It took a minute, so we wanted to make sure we had them when they came out. So we was in the store the day them Jones came out.
Damn.
And was everyone pulling up and just like the whole crew was getting them and supporting and like you felt like it was part of the family, of course?
Yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Remember, Petey got the one song, and he says, I got my S. Dot Carters on, the red, the black, and the green. Yeah, that song is incredible.
I got my black fitted on.
Yeah.
Check. I got my S. Dot Carters on. The red, the black, and the green.
Yeah.
Sissies. I wrote that hook.
Damn. Oh, nice. Also, I want to take it a little back. Jimmy, I know, how big was Barkley in the city? And isn't the Barkley line really big to you as well?
I love the Barkleys.
Yeah.
I always, my like grail is the Nelly one, the red and blue pad. I'm like, how the fuck did Nelly get a Barkley? To me, that never made any sense. But I'm sure you probably own that pair.
Yeah, no, Barkleys was always fine. We always supported Barkleys.
Yeah.
I might pull a pair of Barkleys out present day.
Purple and black joints.
Yes, classic.
Purple and black, white. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But so, his signature line in the city must have been a thing. That's funny you bring up Nelly because we were just talking about Nelly making the Air Force One song when like it was right there for New York, someone from New York to make it. But
and Nelly got the credit.
Yeah.
But it just like exemplified that whole time period, man. It did. Those shoes, they transcended geographics,
Definitely.
So I think even as like a Philadelphia music listener at that point, it's like we understood Nelly's mission with that record,
Shout out to Nelly too, man. That's my brother. He got on my first album when he was selling millions of records.
Scorching
Took
hot.
time, was in New York, took time, come to the studio.
Remix, right?
Yep, jumped on that. We did Rock the Right remix, and he got a record on my album too, on my first album.
Word.
Can I stop real quick?
Yes.
Good thing you brought that up.
More props? Okay.
Oh man.
Wow.
Most definitely classic. I shot this cover at the bottom of the boulevard. It's a hotel, like a motel at the bottom of the boulevard. Yeah.
What's the first thought that comes to your mind when you see that vinyl?
My life.
Yeah.
Like, they say you take your whole life to make your first album, and I really believe that. Like, I pour everything into this album, like, from beginning to end. Like, I was in baseline with a toothbrush and a change of drawers. Right before I really started rocking with Rockefeller, I had got locked up for possession with attempted deliver. So I was in this place called the Ness, it's the Northeast Treatment Center, and trains used to ride past that joint every day. So I'd be in there, and I was like, damn, Beans and I'm probably on the train going to New York right now. Like, when I get out of here, I'm be on the train going to New York. So once I got out of there, we was driving a lot of times, but sometimes I was on that train from Philly to New York, man. And sometimes I would take the train, be in the studio for 3-4 days just cooking. Like, I really wanted to be a rapper. Like, when they say what you want to be when you grow up in school, I wanted to be a rapper and an airline pilot. Now I'm a rapper, I fly as much as an airline pilot. So it's like I killed 2 birds with 1 stone, but this is what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
So when I got this opportunity, I poured my all into it.
I love about that, as you said, you were in the studio with a toothbrush and a clean pair of drawers. But the thing is, like, you rapped like that. That's how you rap. You rapped like every single verse you rapped like you were fighting to become what you became.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
Absolutely.
Was 100 Hustle, was that the first, that was the coming out?
Yeah, the first, actual
Introduction?
album that I was on. Like, I was on a Clue album with Beans. We had to join 1, 2, sequels coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. But 100 Hustler was the first time I was actually on a major project, a dynasty. And back then, nobody even knew what you looked like. Like, if people didn't know me, they didn't even know who I was, man. It was a special time, man.
We were all putting together the flow because music rap had never heard a flow like that or a voice like
unorthodox.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
And but it made sense. First things first, man.
Even the way it was set up, like, before my verse came on, Jay brought the chick, and I forget her name, to play the violin. Like,
Mary Ben Ari.
turn? Yeah.
How did you know that?
So he like,
bro.
That's great. Love that.
so he like, this your introduction to the world, so we gotta really set it up special. So that's why the elevator music came in right before I came in with first things first. The rest was history.
What was it like writing that verse?
I mean, originally Beans was supposed to do the verse, but Beans, Jerry, everybody was like, let Free do it. So I took it home and I sat with it. I'm like, yo, I really gotta kill this joint, man. And I put it together, came back, rest was history.
What was Jay's reaction like during those early times where like who's gonna do the verse and then you would write it and it would come back? It seems like what you're describing is like he was producing almost, right?
Yeah. No, Jay, he was always a big fan of my music. You know, like the first time I rapped for Jay, he ran out the room.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
describe that.
We was all, a bunch of us went up to rap for Jay. Like,
Okay.
you know, it was me, PD, I think my cousin Indy 5 was there, a couple other artists from Philly, you know, and we was in the office and we just took turns spitting, and I'm like, whenever it's my turn, I'm monstering this joint.
Yep.
And that's what I did.
And he just couldn't believe
He
it.
just like ran out the room like, yo, this kid is crazy, like, you know.
And Tunji, like we talk genre bending artists. I feel like your music is like that as
Thank
well.
you so much, brother.
Like, how much inspiration do you draw from like the older generation, but also mixing it with like the newer generation?
I'd say like, so I'm just student first, right? So just awesome like music nerd stuff, and then just growing up to it and like emulating it at first. With these guys, man, it's just like from the music to the culture and everything, and just trying to like encapsulate that, and then try to just push it forward, or just like, you feel me? I'm kind of like on the counterculture,
Yeah.
especially with the Philadelphia scene and stuff, you know. But at the same time, like, we not sitting ducks, we like in the same environment, you know. My pen is my sword still.
Okay.
So we don't ever forget like the raps when it comes to rapping and stuff. But like on the production side of thing, I might like get influenced by like the other scene that we were talking about earlier before this, with it's like Santi Gold or like Naeem, Spank Rock, just like different people within that scene. And then you also have like the big neo soul, like where it's Dre and Vidal, or like, you know, all the stuff at 444, all the stuff at Milk Boy, Larry Gold's Milk Boy and stuff like that. You know, Aunt Bell, like just a lot of like people that are like my elders and like my OGs and stuff. They just put me on game to that. And then me, I'm just trying, if they're gonna pass me the baton, it's just trying to like, a lot of what I do is try to emulate that feeling, you know, and those stories, and like try to like create that for my generation per se.
What was like the Khalid location kind of credit? Like that was a
Man.
big one for you, and I love that album.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that joint was definitely fun.
Yeah, that was like, appreciate that. It's song went down there in El Paso and stuff, and that kind of is like some like old contemporary soul stuff, and I just like between arranging it and helping produce it and write it, it was just like taking that like touch of jazz vibe, taking that Carvin and Ivan vibe, and trying to like incorporate that, you know, just make it like, give it some like Philly soul, some like Sound of Philadelphia type vibe to it as well. So yeah, it was cool. It was super cool. And then it's ill to see that transcend, because like to me that's like a record that you could like take the instrumental off and it's just like a well done written song.
That is such like a good album, and I love that you got that placement on such like a
Appreciate it,
significant
man.
song on that album. Free, like I was always saying, like when you talk about like when it was your turn to like write verses and stuff like that, but were you there for the 2 words session? Like was that something that you were part of?
I did it with Kanye.
Yeah, what was that like? That recording that song, it's like that viral clip always go. It's like him and Most, where it's like Kanye looks like. But what do you remember about that session?
Yeah, he was my man. He's still my man. But like back in the day, like Ye always believed in him. Like his raps. Like, you know, people weren't really. He was on my first album. Like he like sung on the background of the hook on one of the records that he produced. And like we was always cooking. And he like, yo, I got this joint I need you on. So I came to the studio. He played it for me. I laid the verse right there. Then, you know, he was like, Most Def gonna be on it. When we didn't shoot the video together. I shot my part of the video. I was in Miami with Po Boy.
Okay.
Shout out to E-Class and the rest of Po Boy. I was out
E-Class,
there doing some work with them, and then I shot my part of the video for that. And we got to perform that joint on Dave Chappelle.
Oh,
you
my-
know,
I remember
I still
that.
get that check. Like, you know, so.
That I remember that because I always loved that because Chappelle would always like just be dancing. He was like feeling it, but
Yeah, for sure.
2 words. It's another one where like the way that you start the verse is just like I'm here to take over.
Then Free West. Yeah. I always wonder like on the album credits how you guys had set that up like that.
Yeah, he didn't do exactly what I told him to do.
Okay.
He did his own version of what I wanted him to do, but it came out fire though.
He's always going to tinker with it a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Jimmy, I want to get into the kind of skate culture that you came up on. It's like more relevant than ever. Like we're filming this the week of Complex Con and the board flips, which I remember the like original. Yeah, we can bring
Let's get
those.
'em.
Are re-releasing, but like an original member of the ice cream skate team. And I feel like, you know, the board flips were such like a moment in time where you guys like just burst onto the scene and then like you get the sneaker and things like that. But what could you remember about those early days of Pharrell's original skate team?
It took so long to get going. You know, I remember they were waiting on the deal to come through from Reebok. We were waiting for a deal to come through from Star Trek. And we were all kind of trying to figure out how it was going to make sense. You know, like we knew, you know, this is like Pharrell coming off of like Frontin', you know, and like the Clones album. But Terry Kennedy, who was a very old and near and dear friend of mine, him and Pharrell were already clicking. You know, a lot of us got to the point where like, man, maybe this thing's not going to happen. Reebok would send us the boutiques here and there, what they had left. It was kind of like you were saying, we'd get like a little bait box and maybe it'd be like a size small shirt in there and then some big oversized hat we couldn't even wear. We would try to make it work because we were like trying to like rock the shit. But then once it was on, it was like, all right, season 0 of BBC came out.
Yes.
Jimmy, you can go to the Bape store, and the managers at the Bape store would let us in ahead of everybody. There were little things that were like, okay, this is starting to feel real. I'd be in LA, Nino would take me to like the studio to meet Pharrell. It was, you know, the anticipation to it actually being a thing was like one thing, but then once we started cranking, it was like they set us up with Decon Media, Jason Goldwatch, Peter Bittenbender, and now we're just sending you guys all over the world. You're checking in with Pharrell here and there. It was a culmination of like, Bape was at this like arch, you know, Pharrell was at this arch, and skateboarding was just about to explode. So, you know, and here it was like, man, the love that people would show in Philly was like, you couldn't tell them I didn't have an album coming out.
Wow.
You know, it was like, and I was just a fan of it. You know, I love the clips. I love Ab Liva. You know, I was like,
Shout out to Ab.
Roscoe P. Coltrane would be, and me and Roscoe were like hanging out, you know? So, you know, I'm a kid going to Temple. I got like a $900 Bape made ice cream jacket on. Like, you couldn't tell me.
Were they just floating you
shit
product?
back then. Yeah, they would.
So
like,
you would go in the Bape store in New York and you could pick whatever.
Bape, we couldn't. Bape
Okay.
would be like, all right, if you want the calls hoodie, you got to make the phone call.
Okay.
Who
Who was putting in the call for you guys? Like,
I'd have to call Loic or Phillip.
Okay.
I will go on
Pharrell's
record and
guys.
say I was probably the first person with a pair of Roadsters in the United States.
Really?
Like, I went to the store, first in line, got the purple pair, drove right back down to Philly, and just walked up and down South Street.
flexing.
Like, just
Breaking
up and down.
necks.
That was it, yeah. But it was like every season we'd get the box. You know, we were traveling so much, making the video, going to Tokyo to open the store. You know, it's a trip. You know, when you're in the midst of these like special things, you don't realize how amazing it actually is. And you also think it's never going to end. You know, so
Wow.
Pharrell and Rob Walker and those guys would have probably extended the program, but at that point, you know, egos are through the roof.
Yeah.
Once that Bape era kind of died down, you know, it was an easy decision for them to be like, all right, this thing had its moment. It's time to move on. But in the eye of it all, you're just like,
I mean, yeah, the
You know.
106 in Park.
yeah, 106 in Park.
Such a moment. Two things. Like, I want to quickly get to Terry. that crew hoodie. I remember being an intern at Complex, and it's a specific all over crew hoodie, and it's like during the all over print boom, but that crew hoodie, I think it was probably a takeoff of like the Bape zip up, but that like I remember interning at Complex and writing for Hypebeast, and I was like, that's the only thing that I want to like call and like maybe use my Hypebeast email to try to get. But Terry Kennedy was like super influential.
Compton Ness, Terry.
Man,
Come on.
He was on
he was on Viva La Bam, but
I remember a funny story. This was when Beans' third album had come out, and he had the record with Snoop and Pharrell had made the beat. And I seen, this is like 3 a.m, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Team Pharrell, and this is Beanie Siegel, you know, like, oh, this is gonna be, in my mind, this is gonna be easy. We're gonna dap up, what's up, nice to meet you, whoopie whoop. And as you're going into a nightclub at 3 a.m. is like not the best time to try to introduce yourself to somebody. I remember tapping Beans on the shoulder, and he looked back at me like who the fuck are you?
Probably an intimidating guy, right?
Dude,
3 a.m.
And it was like, cool, I'm out. Yeah. You know, but in my mind,
Especially
I was
at
like,
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was fun. It was like I could pull up. We could go anywhere in the city. 20 of us. Come on, just throw the Star Trek sign up.
It's amazing.
You know.
That's how we felt with The Rock. Like, you know, it's like a lot of the same synergy.
Yeah.
Like I definitely could relate to you feeling like it's never going in. Like we felt like this was our life for the rest of our life. It's never going in.
Yeah.
Did it feel like, you know, I feel like sometimes New York, it's so big and there's all like cliques and things like that. Do you think that Philly, it was more kind of like inclusive of you guys, and where the city kind of felt smaller when everything was popping for you guys?
I think so, because State Property, we brought people from, like, I'm originally from West Philly, then I moved to North Philly when I was going to high school. PD from North, like, you know, we our grandmas lived on the same block. Chris and Nee from Nicetown, Owen Sparks from West Philly, and Beanie's from South Philly. So we brought together the city. Like, even in the prisons, like, once State Property was a group and we started moving, it even united people in jail. Like, before, South Philly wouldn't mess with North Philly people in jail. But once we came out and people knew us from all over the city, it, like, united the city.
Jimmy, I want to go back. I kind of like thought about on the train here, kind of like the secret weapon of so many things, Nino Scalia.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, a couple things about Nino Scalia, who you brought up, who started the ice cream skate team. Yeah. I believe Pharrell has said that he put him onto dunks. Nino was like, this is the Nike dunk. Then Pharrell gets this dunk, this NERD artist series. I believe Nino gave Stevie Williams his first pair of Air Max 95s. Yeah. If we're talking about like internet terms, like the secret weapon behind so many different moves in culture, how would you describe Nino Scalia and his impact on that type of stuff?
Man, Nino is one of those rare people. You know those guys that live off, like they're like offline, you know, like they do things and don't feel the need to like wave their own flag, especially in like the social media area. He's like the representative of that, like such a dot connector. That day, I was skating down South Street and I heard someone yell my name. And I look over and it's a crowd of people. He was actually on tour with you for the Sprite Liquid Mix tour.
Yeah.
Really?
That Pharrell was on.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember Nino's like waving his hand, bodyguards there, and this is like trucker, like yellow indie trucker hat era Pharrell.
That,
the NERD, yeah. Yep.
And I think they went to Platinum. Remember Platinum on South Street? I think they got Diesels there.
Shout out to Platinum. I still go to Platinum.
Yeah.
And what kind of store was that? Like Diesel jeans?
Yeah, like it was like Diesel, Moschino. This was like before there was a Diesel store. It was like Moschino. You know,
Diesel was Diesel. I don't think I've ever owned a pair of Diesel, and like was like the aspirational jean.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
But I would say Nino probably took Pharrell from Platinum to Ubik, and Ubik had all these dunks, like the JP dunks, which, you know, I don't know where that one,
Artist series, I think,
that came into it, but that's everyone's, like every sneakerhead's grail right there, right?
Yeah, I got these during the pandemic when I was just like sitting at home buying shit, and it was just like,
how much?
So Index Portland, Index Portland is a store basically where, because it's in Portland close to Nike, a lot of people from the area will like give samples away, or not give samples away, but they'll sell them for cheaper. And like I just found my size and I got a pretty good deal at it. But to your point, it's like, yeah, a grail that I had to get.
Yeah, but Nino is, I mean, that guy changed my life, man. You know, and looking back on ice cream when he first asked me, I said no, you know, because coming from Love Park, Philadelphia skate community, you know, it was a tough decision to make. You know, it was such a big non-core program. And then I had other friends that were like, Jimmy, if you don't take this opportunity, somebody else is going to, you know. And when I got out of skating and got into fashion, the doors remain open because of Pharrell, because of that, you know. And that's why I'll always wave the flag for Pharrell. Yeah. You know, we talk here and there. This guy owes me nothing because I'm forever grateful for what he did, you know. I'm sure the way that you carry yourself, Free, I'm sure that I feel like I see a lot of parallels.
A lot of synergy.
You know.
I feel the same way. Like Jay, Dame, Biggs, they don't owe me nothing. They helped change my life. All the people that work for me lives, like, you know, they did a lot for me already. That's like when the Rockefeller broke up.
Yeah.
It took me like a second, probably like a month to get myself together, but that was the mindset I had. Like, I'm like, the hard work is already done. I'm already a household name. So I went back to what got me there, and that's hard work. I was doing mixtapes. I did a thing called Month of Madness where I dropped a record every day for 31 days. On the 31st day, I dropped 2 records. You know, I did a bunch of independent projects and, you
Jake
know.
One joints too.
Yeah, shout out to
Stimulus
Jake One,
Package is
Stimulus
incredible,
Package.
yeah.
We just dropped Stimulus Package 2 last year. Probably was one of the best albums of 2024. You know, and then 2018, I linked back with Jay, and then I dropped Think Free on Rock Nation, you know, so.
You always said, like, a lot of kids you're asked in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there's a myriad of answers, but it seems like you always wanted to be a rapper. Is that why, like, the work was always, like, you put in the work, it was your dream, and it's, like, still your dream, basically? Is that, like, the mentality that you had to, you know, you just said Rockefeller breaks up it takes a month to, like, get it together, what's going on, and then you're immediately back 31 days in a row. Is that where it comes from, that childhood dream, even
Most
when like you were
definitely.
hustling?
Like, you know, this is what I wanted to do. Like, you know, even when it wasn't cool to be a rapper. Like, you know, when I was hustling, it wasn't cool to be no rapper. Like, we was in the streets, wasn't no, like, it was like, all right, here and there, but like, you know, at one point in time, it wasn't even cool.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I stuck with it. Like, it's something that I really wanted to do, and, you know, through the grace of God, I was able to achieve it.
Isn't that interesting, though? I remember that. Like, if you were an aspirational rapper back then, it was like, ooh, you know? Your generation.
Not my era, no. We look at y'all like,
kids
they
go to
gonna do this
college
shit.
and they rap. Right?
They're the cool ones, right? Yeah.
And I felt like that, like I never felt like I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, especially when I started seeing like the Roots, Eve, Beans,
Yes.
people that I could see and touch. I'm like, if they doing it, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, early, like when I met major figures, like when I first met Gil, like major figures was like they was like the standard.
Yeah.
So once I spit with them a couple times, met them, I'm like, all right, I gotta be either here or better than what they're doing.
Being from Philly, did you see, that's funny, did you see Gilly's personality, and can you have predicted basically how big a star he's become post-rap?
Yeah, Gil, that's my brother. Shout out to Gil. Like, he always was the same person.
Okay.
Like, you know, he never changed. So before they had $1 million worth of game, he was doing $1 million worth of game on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's how they established it. So who he is today is who he been. So
Yeah.
it's just elevated, you know.
Well, listen, like I said, different generations of Philly, but the thing that I think we could all agree on in this room is, like, you guys are so prideful about the city. You were there when there was like such a big boom of culture coming in all different angles, and you are still here with such an affection for the city. And it comes through in your storytelling and just like how you present yourself when Philly memories come up. So
It's a hard city not to wave the flag for if you come from here, and because, you know, like I think like Freya mentioned, you see people, you know, the city is not like New York, so you are able to see these people that you look up to and see how they conduct themselves on a regular basis, and, you know, they show you that dreams are obtainable. You know, like, this guy's a hero to me.
Yep.
Thank you, bro.
This gentleman is a representation of like all the things that we grew up on, you know, and how to do it with such class and sophistication.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
he's got a Grammy nomination.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yes.
For these guys, man.
Sure.
And just like, cause like these guys have showed me love, like even like just like not knowing or like even getting like a gauge of like what's going on. And prior to anything, like behind the scenes, like really like uplifted me. Just knowing that like they'd even take the time out to like give me a conversation or like just say or give me props or anything. So it's just like, you know, you're doing a step in the right direction. I think on the culmination, like being from Philadelphia and having that pride for the city, is just that the enigma of it is that we're one of the major cities in America or whatever, but the amount of talent in that like per capita, like compared to like New York, I think we're bar for bar. The amount of talent, and it was many like, regardless of like how many people here are compared to there, but like we got it. Like you have that like the soul of it, you know, real
you
blue
said
collar.
TSOP. It's like
Yeah.
people don't realize how many records the Sound of Philadelphia, Kenny Gamble,
Yeah, Huff.
and Leon
Yeah,
Huff wrote.
that's
Like
what I
Money,
was
Money,
blanking
Money
on.
was wrote here. I think half of Michael Jackson's first
David Bowie came down here.
Thriller was recorded here.
You know,
like,
Milk Boy days and stuff, like everybody was coming down. They still come down, like just on the look. You could duck off here and you
Philly,
could walk
man,
around.
A lot of our musicians are on tour with a lot of the biggest artists in the world. Like, you know, it's that, you know, we got that Schuylkill River. They say it's something in that Schuylkill River.
Straight up.
That Schuylkill punch that give us that soul. Like, you know.
Listen, can't thank you guys enough. I know I'm a New Yorker. I'm on Philly soil, but this has been such an enjoyable conversation, and you guys have great stories, and can't thank you enough for your time.
Most definitely. We
doubt,
appreciate
man.
you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the second edition, the JD Sports Podcast, the Philly edition. I can't thank our guests enough for sharing their stories and painting this city in such a beautiful light. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.